Hello, this is Mike from Nintendo Fuse bringing a review of Thumper on the Nintendo Switch. Thumper is a rhythm violence game which launched worldwide on May 18th, boasting such features as full HD rumble support, handheld mode, as well as 60 FPS. So let's dive right into the review and see exactly what this game is all about. So just diving right into the actual review, its simple controls are definitely the biggest feature of this game. So as a rhythm game, it needs to have very tight controls. It needs very simple controls. So you have to be able to play it with a very good controller, and in this case, the Joy-Cons are the absolute best way to play it. The Switch Pro controller is great, but not that great. It's almost in the same situation as Puyo Puyo Tetris. You'd rather be using the Joy-Cons over the Switch Pro controller. Not saying the Switch Pro controller is bad in any way, it's just this game doesn't really support it that well. It's fine, it's just not going to work for you. I'm going right into this with the whole idea that HD Rumble is just a simple rumble motor, but in this game it's just not. You really feel it. The way the developers made this game work with HD Rumble, it makes you feel like you're there. You feel everything what you do, and it's hard to explain. It's almost like the demo way back before Switch released of the water or the ice cubes in the Joy-Con controller. You have to feel it to believe it. So this game is very much an audio-visual experience. It's one of the better looking games on the Switch, that's for sure. It has stellar visuals. It's very creative, very interesting. You really fall into the game, and you're really entranced for hours. The game looks great on your TV, it looks great actually on the screen itself. Then the soundtrack is really where this game just comes together. The visual experience and your audio experience, they mash together, they become a very rhythmic experience. So every time you hit a turn, the music changes. Every time you hit a jump, the music changes. You feel it, you see it, you hear it. The way the audio in this game is designed is that it's designed for someone who's very much an audiophile. So I love my audio systems in my room. I have a really nice pair of headphones. I have a really nice surround sound system. I've played it on both of those, and I can say that compared to the TV speakers, this game sounds the best on a pair of headphones or a surround system. So my suggestion for the game is really just play it on a sound system if you can get a hold of one, or play it on a really nice pair of headphones when you can. You'll definitely be in for a treat. On top of that, this game has very seamless loading screens, so you basically traverse from stage to stage, and it's very much there. The music continues on, you'll know when the next stage happens. But the one thing that does happen between the stage is actually the tutorials. And I was actually really surprised. So the game doesn't start you out with all the abilities right away. It'll run you through some of the abilities in the beginning. So in the first stage, I was running through, it's like, oh yeah, how do you do this? How do you turn? And everything else. That was the bigger tutorials then. Eventually started bringing in more techniques. So it would load a stage specifically for that tutorial and go on from there. And once you complete that tutorial area, move on to the next stage in the levels, and you just continue on with those new skills. Like most other rhythm games, this game does have a chance to hook you in. The first 3 hours I played of this game definitely felt like an hour to me. I looked outside, it was dark. This game does offer a lot of replayability as well. There's leaderboards, it's just everything's there for you, and it's just super addictive. And the last thing, I'm gonna mention this again, the game is 1080p 60 FPS wall docked and 720p 60 FPS while in handheld mode. A rhythm game is all about the speed in your inputs. If you can't get that right, then you're just gonna have lots of problems. The bigger issues like games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, more specifically on the Wii, is that you had input lag to deal with, and the games weren't smooth 60 FPS either. So that's the biggest thing you have to look for with rhythm games. And finally, my only problem with the game is that it can get difficult really fast. The game works in steps, it doesn't work in spikes thankfully. So you'll get a few small steps followed by a really big step. It's not a bad thing, but it does get very annoying very fast. So maybe you'll play for 20 minutes at a time, complete a few levels, and then go back to it later after you've gotten frustrated from dealing with one level. So overall, the game itself is definitely an 8 out of 10. So an 8 out of 10 for many reasons. The game's simple controls, I still recommend using the Joy-Cons. The game itself is very much just an audio-visual experience. I cannot recommend more that you play this game with a pair of headphones or a surround system, and just really appreciate the tutorials this game has offered. So I've played a lot of games, and even like Breath of the Wild, the game offers tutorials in a simple way. It explains everything right then and there, and you just go through and you play. But given this game's highly addictive nature and its very high frame rate, you're going to turn around, you're just going to enjoy everything about it. It's very responsive, it's very fun, you're going to love it. And lastly, the difficulty there, it happens to bring the score down a bit, and I'm not going to fault the game completely. It's a fun game. So this has been Mike from Nintendo Fuse, bringing you a review of Thumper.